Okay, we have a green box, we have a live counter ticking up, so we should now be live, which of course means welcome back to the Storytime Network, where we are back with D&D, and we are Pahola bound.
Woo woo!
Yes. So, last we left our heroes, Daron, the Genasi Bard, Seamus, the half-elf... Did I say Genasi Bard? Genasi Rogue?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
you did.
I'm already stumbling. I was like, wait, have I already slipped up on something? Yes, I did. So yeah, Daron the Genasi Rogue, Seamus the half-elf Bard, Felix the Eladrin Painter, and Aldane the half-elf Paladin. The four of you finally are no longer fugitives after dealing with the Cult of the Tarask in the underground base. After a very intense fight where some of you nearly died. In the end, you collected all of your loot that you'd found, you freed all of the captives, many of which sung your praises as heroes, and after meeting up with a macaw Aarakocra, you eventually got taken back to the city. As gratitude for your deeds and as a preemptive thanks, you were given a deed for your house. Because yeah, you now have a house in Centralis.
We got a headquarters!
that you can like furnish. You also found various dossiers and various other info that you'll have to spend the time reading later probably when you have. I mean, you'll have like a couple of days, nearly 3 days on the boat, like I said before. But yeah. So, you've all, I'm going to say, unless you wanted to do anything like, while you were still in Kuro's office, sort of like going over the plans, I'm going to say it's the next day. Unless you also just want to catch up with any... Oh, I remember actually, Aldane was going to like see his family. Do you want to roleplay that actually, Jack? Or do you just want to sort of...
Up to you,
Please
if you're up for it or not.
I'm good either way. Like, it's up to you if you want to. It's just, you know...
Yeah, we can off-screen it. Kind of want to get into the action.
No problem at all. Does
Yeah.
anyone else want to do anything before the next day would happen?
I mean, if we're leaving straight away, all I'd want to do is stock up on
You'd
healing
be-
potions again.
I'm gonna say
I want to do that as
you'd be-
well, yeah.
You'd be asked to leave at about like 9 o'clock.
Then,
9 in the morning, I mean.
Yeah, probably get shopping done the day before then.
Yeah.
And yeah, don't need to roleplay anything, just need to spend the gold to do it.
Yeah, you are able to buy bottles of ink at market price. Market price being 10 gold pieces for an ounce, 1 ounce bottle. Let me make a roll. As you go to a shopkeeper has 6 bottles.
Alright.
That'd be 60 gold if you want them all.
Yep.
Yep, so you now have 6 ink bottles. Anybody else want to buy anything?
Healing potions. I need a shit ton of those. I'm out.
Yeah, I was more talking about healing potions than ink, because I think I've got plenty, but, you know, it's always nice to be able to stock up again.
You all... Let me find the thing. Oh. Sorry.
Let me think. What else? What do I need?
Do you need to stock up on more crossbow bolts?
Yeah, I should probably get more crossbow bolts. What the fuck, Chrome?
What's
Is
Chrome done
Chrome
now?
Is Chrome acting up?
Chrome has crashed twice on me.
Oof.
Oh god.
This is why I use Firefox now.
I basically split my time between both of them.
I only have Chrome open for my D&D related stuff. I use Microsoft Edge. I should really probably get Opera, because I've heard good things about it.
Opera is good, and the Firefox is also very good.
I only ever used Firefox for Flash games. But anyway,
Cro-Magnon.
enough about operating systems. Healing potions. Let me just have a look at them. Healing potions. So you find a shop, and they have, No, I'm gonna re-roll that.
Was it good
Oh,
for us or bad for us?
No, the shopkeeper would have only had one healing potion.
Bad for us then.
Well, that would have been off.
Which is why I'm re-rolling.
Appreciate it, thank you.
The shopkeeper that you find has 7 healing potions in total.
Just normal ones.
Remember, it's normal ones. Bearing in mind, it's 50 gold per potion. Which, to be fair, you're swimming in money.
Yeah.
But I also know, as a D&D player myself, sometimes hoarding money's also nice.
Yes. I'll buy 5.
So
I'll buy the other
hold
2
on,
then.
I'll wait my turn.
I'll buy the other 2 then. We can just
I'll buy 5.
split that
Okay.
up if need be.
I would also like to buy some poison when I can.
Yeah, we'll get to you next, don't worry again. So, for Aldane, that'll be
250
250, right?
gold? Yeah.
250, yes. And then
Can I try
Camilla will be
haggling?
100.
Yeah.
Give me a persuasion check from each of you. Unless you're together.
I would say we're together.
Hot
Sure.
damn.
Which I would...
They will nudge it down to 45 gold each.
Okay.
Okay,
Good stuff,
that's just an extra 10
These-
up then.
You're basically making them sell under the value that it should actually be.
Yeah, that's fair. No, you get it.
That's fair, that's fair.
To be fair, you're saving quite a bit, really.
I'm saving 25 gold.
That's like half a potion.
Yep.
So,
The 10% discount, which isn't bad.
yeah, 10% is a good percent.
Mhm.
That'll be only well, technically, well, I was gonna say it'd be 315 gold, but it won't be because
I'm
Robin,
only buying 5. I'm buying 5 of them. Felix is
that'll
buying
be-
the other 2.
yeah, you'll have to pay 225 then.
Yes.
And
I already
paid
deducted the
90.
amounts.
yeah, no problem. So, Darren, you want poison, correct?
Yes.
Let me have a gander over at Poisson. Do you just want, like... let me actually check. Oh, no, I can't sell you that one.
Please don't tell me things I can't get.
No, that's what I was going to say. I was like, oh yeah, poison. No, that's drow poison. That isn't...
Here's this ultra rare poison that will kill anyone in the near vicinity. Can't sell you
Yeah.
that.
Here's some military grade uranium. This is the display piece. We don't actually have any to sell.
Sorry, could I
military
actually
grade
get some
uranium
military
and,
grade plutonium?
and the fission
no.
and a
It's
fission.
got a better ring to it.
So, Dairon,
Yes.
a basic poison vial is going to go for 100 gold pieces
Okay.
each. And this shopkeeper, because to be fair, poison's not really something that people just sell. They have 2 vials of it.
I'll take 2.
But there are only 2.
Yep, I'll take the 2. That's fine.
That'll be 200 gold deducted from your money.
Okay.
Is there anything else anyone might want to buy?
Yeah, I want to get some healing potions.
All sold out.
They're all sold out.
Are you kidding me?
If you do an investigation check, you could maybe find another shop that might sell some.
Okay.
By the way, Dylan, have you added the gold from the that we got from the Cult Trask hideout that we split up?
Oh no, I haven't added it. How much did I get?
It's in the Discord
yeah.
general chat.
Oh,
Pin it in
that
the
was. I
general
thought
chat.
that was what we had total. I didn't know that's what we.
No,
Yeah.
that's
Had
split
No,
up.
no, we split that. We
Yeah,
split
split
that.
6 ways.
Oh, so I'll have to add that to my inventory. Give me
Yeah.
one moment.
To be fair, Tora and Leon helped a massive amount.
Yeah. So we
I
gave
mean-
them their equal share.
Okay, let me do this investigation check real quick first, and then I'll add the gold.
I don't think it has been pinned, Kato.
What isn't?
The gold total.
I didn't say it was because it's
Oh.
that low down anyway.
I
That's
thought-
pretty low
general
down.
chat.
It's not a
honestly
big
thought
deal.
you did. Okay.
What does the R2 mean?
That's the remainder
Next.
that's gone in party loot. Don't add that.
Oh, okay.
It did not split up perfectly.
Have we put down the party loot yet?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So
Yep.
283 platinum each. Damn.
Yep.
Yeah, we
That
are
is
rich
a gnarly amount
as they
of money.
say.
We also have a potion of hill giant strength, ring of water walking, book of constitution, broom of flying, and decanter of endless water.
I would like to petition to have that book of Constitution, please.
You've got enough AC to handle things.
I'm also like the designated tank of the party though, and having more Constitution is a good thing.
You should have thought about that.
Even
I
my
knew this would
stat,
happen.
okay?
Meanwhile, Darren's just like, I don't really need this.
I'm okay.
If this is the dexterity book, though, that'd be different.
Oh, there
Yeah.
would be an absolute war over that.
I mean,
Oh,
at
I
that
think
point,
I'd kill him.
I mean, at that point, Aldane would pass because they don't need dex that much like you guys.
Yeah, Aldea does not need Dex. Aldea needs Constitution, Strength, and Charisma.
Yeah.
I think if it was a dex book, Dyro would actually start murdering the team.
Look, Aldea would be fine giving that up. Aldea would not get involved.
I mean, if it was the strength book, there'd be no conversation because Aldane would just have it.
Yeah. I don't know. Felix would like to be a bit stronger.
And to be fair, no one apart from Dyron would need the wisdom book either. So
The
Again,
con book is
it
really the one that's like the most.
Divisive.
Yes.
again,
Well,
wisdom would be nice for Felix to have.
Yes, but Dyron genuinely needs that for their mechanics to work.
Yeah.
how about
Yeah,
this? Decide on the boat.
How about to
Alright, so
decide
what-
who gets
what
it,
are
we
the
have a
results of
lovely
my-
game of Mahjong.
No.
What are the results of my roll there?
So you find a shop. You do find one. It's a bit off the beaten path, but you do find one. Ooh. So in total, they only have 2 healing potions to sell.
That's ridiculous. Why is there a
Not-
shortage?
It's not even a shortage. No one's really in the it's not in the market.
And we're also gearing up for war.
Yeah, they even just say like, "Oh, the crown's needing some money, some stuff." If you have a problem,
Okay.
take it up with them.
How much do the 2 healing potions cost?
For you, good sir. You, Dylan, will have to pay. Let me make a roll. Oh, lucky. I did a high or low to myself. I spared you guys from it. You only have to
Yay.
pay market value, which is 100 gold for both. Not each, don't worry.
For both
100 for
of these?
Both of these?
Yes,
yes.
both of these.
For the both of these? Sir, I'm very much trying to get a good deal here.
You don't look poor. Come on.
I know. I'll do 100. It's not.
You
really much
have
for me.
so much fucking gold now. You're fine.
I'm now down to a measly 1,100 gold pieces.
To be fair, guys,
Oh.
when I actually played as when I did play as Astra in the wild cards, the 2 warlocks actually spent half an hour discussing how they could cheese and cheat their way to an island to have to pay as little as possible for a boat ride.
Honestly, I can see that. That's not too bad.
it came at the cost of the wizard not being allowed to do something with their actual character because he just didn't care at that point. And I was also trying to vouch for them to just get a cheaper passage if they just did some work. And in the end, I was like, if you don't decide now, I'm ditching you all. But yeah.
Funny. Just pay the man.
That's literally what I was just like. I was allowed for free because I actually had my character had experience with boats, because Asta does. But yeah, that's for another time. But yeah, so, unless you want to stock up on anything else, it's the next day. Are we all good with that?
Yep.
I wish
Yep.
I could get more healing potions, but I guess I'll have to be fine with that.
Yeah, but your
There's
party can
nothing.
your party can share them with you.
Yeah, I know. Plus, I got healing word and all, and we got lay on hands and cure wounds from Aldane.
It's one of them. You're not really in a short supply of like healing.
I'm
That's
sorry,
usually-
I'm paranoid because we've been getting downed a lot lately. So I'm like,
that's
I'm
usually
really.
why. That's usually why I do throw some spooky enemies at you. Like the boss fights are intended to be scary because you do usually have a lot of avenues to not die.
Yeah.
And to be fair,
You guys either steamroll fights or the fights nearly steamroll you.
yeah, and to be fair, we just went through an arc where we were like supposed to have a lack of resources, so
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
of course we
Yeah.
went down
So
a little bit
remember,
more.
if you, I'd assume you've reattuned to your Dracolich pieces.
Yes.
You do feel that familiar presence in your existence now. Aldane in his arms, Daron in their eyes, Seamus in his brain, and Felix in his...
No.
Felix was his shoulder blades, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have the
got
skin
them
yet.
wings.
Yeah, so yeah,
Wingies.
you feel them in your shoulder blades. But yeah,
I do think he's eventually gonna grow some wings. It'll be dope.
if any of you haven't already sorted your death saves out, they are now like done. You're all good. You know, if you get down
Oh,
to
hit
a death
dice.
save, you won't die again. Yeah, hit dice are maxed. Spell slots are all fully regained. Any once a day abilities are done. It's all as if you've never been in prison.
Yay! Except
Except the crippling
Trauma.
memories.
the crippling trauma.
Thankfully, you didn't have to deal with like shower trauma, so
Yeah, nobody dropped the soap that I know of.
but anyway. So, as sort of you all probably like convene, I assume you go to your house, don't you?
Hey, I slept there.
Yeah.
There's no
No, I
going
saw
to
the
the house.
docks, Kaido.
So you all go to your house. It's actually really lovely. It's in a surprisingly nice area of the city. It's close enough where a commute to say the guardhouse, if you need to speak to anyone there, is probably only like about 3 or 4 minutes. It's close enough to the gate entrance, so if anything did happen, you can sort of escape through there. But it's not too close where if you got invaded from that entrance, you know, you'd be fucked. Although you're heroes anyway, so you'd probably be defending the gate, but that's
Yeah.
neither here nor there. It's also just in a generally nice neighborhood. So, to be fair, the lower district's actually pretty nice. Even the slums are actually quite safe. It's arguably the higher tier districts where it's more dangerous.
Because of
Just 'cause-
crime.
Just because you've got Kuro and all them who are actually like genuinely competent, and like, you know, Kuro actually has implemented preventative measures, not just reactive ones. You know, because this
What a
is a
good
work
guy.
this is a work of fiction. We can't have our law enforcement actually be useful in real life.
See, that's my best friend right there. That's my childhood friend right there.
But yeah, you know, it's one of them. Like, the lower tier district's actually safe. Even the slums, you know, the slums, but they're still well kept. But yeah, you know. Aldane, do you actually stay at the house, or do you just go to your actual home that you know?
You know, I stay at the house this time.
No. But yeah, as you walk in, it's quite nice. Apart from the fact it's not very furnished. In the house, there's like a coffee table with like 2 couches that can fit maybe 3 people if no one's particularly large. like, either 3 of you guys are like tutoras for scale. There's like a plant that maybe is dead. It's hard to tell. It looks like it's been watered, but probably not watered as much as it should be. And yeah, you see, because to be fair, this house is only 1 story. It doesn't actually have an upstairs. But as you look round, you find where the kitchen is. Think of it almost like a studio apartment, where like the kitchen is part of the living room. Just, you know.
Yeah.
You know, there's some food stocked in, mostly just like, you know, things that don't really perish. You know, you're not going to find any meats or anything like that, you know, or fruits. You'd have to buy them yourself. But it's one of them. Like, as you look sort of there, you then,
I'm gonna just quickly, put the mushrooms and truffles that we still have left in there.
Yes. Good idea.
Because I don't think the fish kept.
I'd assume you would have just, like... I don't know. Because there would have been hungry people, you know, when you saved the captives. I'm going to assume that you just, you know, because I'll be nice, you retroactively gave them some of your fish.
Right.
While they were waiting. Because there would have been a lot of hungry mouths to feed. So yeah, I'm going to just assume that they aren't going to waste, because as someone who hates wasting meat... But anyway, as you put away the truffles, as you sort of like look around, if you check any of your rooms are also quite sparse. There's only a bed, just a single bed, you know, single-sized bed, I mean, not just one. But yeah, you all have your own rooms, and there's also a window actually in each room. That actually you notice has a back garden. In your room as well, other than the window and the bed, you also have a desk, and a chair for the desk. It's pretty Spartan, your home, right now.
We'll decorate it when we get back.
It's been dusted. If you check really all around, you don't find a single layer of dust where there should be. But it's one of them, like, you'd need furniture. Like, you're not going to bring anyone home without them wanting to leave immediately, because they'll probably think you're fucking psychopaths.
We aren't? Ah, shit.
Been giving off the wrong vibes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm playing the wrong character. Fuck. Hold on.
It's actually not too far from Sora's company.
Oh.
His building.
Interesting.
I've got a few ideas for how I want to decorate my area.
Yeah,
But that's
you
a,
can,
that's
like,
a problem for later.
you have, like, all of the shit you've hoarded, you could, like, actually set up, like, a trophy space for your accomplishments. You've got so much you can do. It's your little corner of the existence that you can, like, you know, just furnish however you like. The living room, it's up to you guys to decide how you want to furnish it. But as you all go to bed, and what are very comfy beds, actually. The pillows are really nice. The covers are at a decent, like, what's the word, tog at this time of year. So you actually get, like, you don't have to kick them off in your sleep because you get too warm or anything. And yeah, you awaken the next day. You all feel refreshed. You know, you've actually got a bed to sleep on. It's not as luxurious as the underground, obviously, but it's still nice, you know. You're not having to wonder, like, oh, what's going to happen tomorrow, you know. Yeah. You awaken, you hear the sound of a rooster making really loud noise. It's not a nice It's not a nice awakening, but you at least feel refreshed. However refreshed you all feel is up to you, but on some level, you are refreshed.
I mean, obviously, Felix wakes up from his trance earlier than the others, so I imagine he's just sat in the living room, just hears the rooster crow just hears like muffled expletives from the other rooms and just thinks, Darren's gonna kill
Well,
that
you
bird
notice
someday.
actually in your rooms, I forgot to mention, there's actually a crystal located above the bed. Not above the bed, above the door. See, like inside your room. If any of you cast Detect Magic, which I mean, at this point, Felix, like, you know, Felix having the staff could just like spam cast it now. Felix, if you do check, you actually notice there's illusion magic on the doors.
Oh.
And as you go, like, if any of you sort of shut your rooms, you know, if you actually shut your doors to sort of look inside the room and put stuff away, you don't really hear much sound outside.
Oh.
Oh.
Almost as if there's like a
Interesting.
silence dampener for your rooms.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
that's good.
I don't
Coming
think
handy.
I don't think your Seamus trying to get laid anymore.
You don't have to hear him cry in his sleep because he gets no bitches.
Yep. Correct.
You guys think I get laid?
Yeah, exactly. Just imagining Felix go, no bitches?
Out of character though, there is like a subplot with Seamus and getting laid that I'm planning on doing, and it might not be what you guys think.
Okay.
Okay.
Cut.
Something to discuss off stream.
Basically,
Something to discuss off stream.
Yeah.
yeah, it would be off stream. Yeah, we don't have to discuss it now.
Oh, 1 second.
But yeah, if there wasn't that sound dampening crystal, I would bet that Darren would kill that bird within 3 days.
No, you're real quiet. What?
I would have bet that Darren would kill that bird within 3 days if it weren't for the sound dampening crystals.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you only really hear it in the living room, which is fine. But it means, hey, if any of you want parties, and some of you don't really care and just want to sleep, you can like sleep and not actually be bothered.
That's a relief. Always good.
But yeah, again, it's one of them. It could be better, but to be fair, you've been given a house that you've not had to pay for. To your knowledge, there's no mortgage, so you don't even have to do like payments with that. You've literally just got a house.
I'm now
you know.
just imagining around like tax time, Kuro just going and saying, "You haven't paid any of your bills or your taxes." We have bills and taxes.
I could definitely see that.
I mean, at that
Yep.
point, Kuro would just tell you he'd deduct what taxes and stuff like that from whatever he gives you in terms of money, so you don't even have to like give a shit. He'd basically be your tax, like the person who sorts out your taxes.
Our accountant.
Yeah. I don't think Darren's ever paid taxes.
Darren's technically doesn't exist on like official registers.
This is true.
Like, you know, it's only everyone else. It's literally the elves that are official like citizens, and even then, you know, technically Aldane's the only real official citizen because he's actually been born in the country. None of you have actually done like a citizenship test.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just like the world's worst immigrant.
Wait,
Darren-
wouldn't
Darren-
Seamus have? Wouldn't Seamus have, having been through
Oh,
like
yeah,
the academy?
Seamus might have been allowed to, yeah, but like
Yeah.
Darren's an illegal immigrant.
Maybe like provisional citizenship, but not like not.
You're
a
here on a
citizen.
visa.
Yeah, basically. I'm here on
I-
like a worker's visa.
Let's not get into this because now I'm trying to think of how would Felix have been allowed to like permanently stay in the country. But
Oh no,
I'd say Hayato would
he-
do some. I'd
he-
say Hayato being your friend would help you, and like
Felix fully got a temporary visa and it just ran out without him realizing.
you've got the hero's visa.
Yeah.
As long as you're saving the world, no one cares.
No,
Basically.
Felix 100% had a temporary visa that just ran out without him even realizing what a visa was.
Ran out without him realizing, but thankfully he's got friends in high places.
Yeah.
But for now, as you
Basically,
wake
just like Seamus.
again, as you wake up the next day, you all probably get out of bed. You all probably see Felix in the living room. Your sparse living room that barely has much in it. Yeah, you know. The
Hey, what's
day-
this plastic sheet doing out?
We really need to come up with a group name, don't we?
We do.
At some point, yeah.
How about the painters?
Only one of us is
No.
a painter. That would be like me saying, how about the bards?
I mean, you technically paint the walls with your enemy's blood.
Exactly, mysterious voice. Exactly.
Hey, how about this?
Oh, you can hear him too, Felix.
How about the artists?
The silence.
I'm back. I'm surprised.
The
that,
artists. No,
that
think about it. Think about it. We
have.
have a painter. We have a bard. We have a thief that is an artist at the craft of theft.
No.
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 It's just too much of a stretch.
Yes.
Damn it.
Mm-hmm.
I had a good one for Aldane too, but I'll leave it at that.
You're reaching. Unfortunately.
I have noted down all the previous suggestions for names, so we can go through them at some point.
Mm.
It's something to consider later, anyway.
But during our downtime, we will.
The dragon's breath.
I feel like the thing is, name yourselves after the dragons or dragons. You're not really going to be dealing with Dracoliches after this arc, really.
Yeah.
In theory, like, you know, it's going to be a bit outdated as a title.
I mean, the Dragon's Banes is still pretty cool.
It is, but like for the most part, the only evil dragon you're dealing with is a black dragon.
Yeah, it would be very.
Every other
Yeah.
dragon, to your knowledge, is quite friendly.
Yeah, it would be very, very alienating to Siltanok.
Especially when
Would
you go in there. Especially when you go in there last, and now all of you have disadvantage on
Yeah.
checks related to dragons.
Yeah.
Might cause some anti-elf. It might cause some like pro-elf movement. It might be a bit weird.
Yeah, and the
Yeah, it
fact that
does
we're
have
friends,
that racial component that is definitely not something we want to get into too much.
and we're already friends with Oryx, which probably isn't gonna set us in good stead over there. We should probably avoid, poking that mound even more.
You know, as you all sort of chat amongst yourselves, and remember that, oh yeah, there's no like food in the, there's no food in our cupboards apart from these truffles. Yeah, you've got your boat ride. You are told to go to the docks at 9 o'clock. That's the time.
Mm-hmm.
I assume you go there
Yep.
at the time. I assume you not want to be tardy.
We're not Seamus, no.
I mean, especially considering you're going to the country to literally save it. It's a bit poor form to just be late.
Honestly,
Yeah.
we've been tardy enough with that one. We should probably, go and handle it.
So, as you make it to the docks, which again isn't too far of a walk, like it seems like Kuro deliberately picked this area, the house he got for you, with like a lot of convenience in mind.
Yeah.
The only problem is it's quite a way away from the castle. But then it would have come at the expense of a lot of other things that might have been helpful.
Mhm.
And to be fair, you also don't personally go to the castle often.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Rua does tend to come to us.
Yeah, he is a man of the people. He'd rather not be in the castle if he can help it. But yeah,
And anyway,
You-
I think I remember the way to the castle through the sewers.
oh yes, a callback. So, as you make your way to the docks, in the distance you see Turin actually there, basically waiting with what looks like a travel bag. It's very striking because Turin has completely black clothes, so seeing anything with an ounce of color really stands out on the person, them.
Mm-hmm.
You notice Turin's also very tall and wide today. That seems to be the shape they're going with today.
Turum, are you
mhm.
coming with us?
Didn't Kurogane tell you this in the brief?
He did, Felix.
He did, but I'm still excited.
To be fair,
Well-
I didn't remember either. Still excited though. Good to see you, Turin.
Likewise, I'm glad to know that you weren't
Pleasure.
actually people traffickers.
No, that's
Yeah.
on us.
Yeah, that's
Um,
us.
From what Kurogane said, it was his plan, so, and they just shrug. You do actually see Kurogane, actually, as he's like in the middle of talking to a dockhand. You also see Akura there. Once they're done talking, they both approach you. And just say like, "Oh, it's good to see you awake. How did you like the house?" Kuro asks.
Great.
It's a bit bare in furniture, I know, but I had to do this quickly.
We understand.
It's fine.
Yeah, I
What-
know. The housing market from Proventus is a little much, isn't it?
I mean, this costs a lot of money and like sorting out to get you that particular property. I mean, hey,
Imagine.
I still don't even have my own house.
Isn't that
But
by
that's not it.
choice so you can sleep with Guy?
He just frowns at you, Felix, really resenting such a comment.
What?
That's neither here nor there. Anyway, as you no doubt know, as I believe I told you yesterday, Sentusk has now been evacuated. It is effectively has become a war zone, as the undead are actually rising from the sand itself at this stage.
Oh boy.
All of them are basically chanting a name that most of the soldiers don't understand the name of. It's probably using a tongue that, people don't know. Probably an old dialect. From what I've heard, though, a large pyramid is erected in the desert where the Dracolich piece should be located. Is there any questions you want to ask before,
Any other oddities that we need to keep aware of?
Any other
Well-
oddities? Well,
Undead will definitely be something I can deal with.
from what it seems like, the undead are also disturbing the local wildlife, just, by virtue of them uprooting some that are, sleeping under the sand, just generally causing a wake of destruction in their path. So you might end up having to deal with ornery creatures on the way.
Sounds about right.
That was
Lately as
basically my
well.
question.
Lately as well, it seems to be that the seas are also getting more fierce.
So hopefully y'all don't get seasickness.
Oh boy.
We got a boat with some of our best naval forces, and also got help from Pahola as well to sort of help look after you guys on the way there.
Will we be receiving assistance from any of the other Paholan warlords?
The leaders of Pahola, I mean, you're going to be meeting Torrent when you get there. I believe him and, what's their face? And he clicks his fingers. Fortune should also be giving you more info.
Cool.
From what I know, Star Meadow, Jagel, and Sentusk are all dealing with the undead problem the best they
Okay.
can.
Hmm.
We were actually going to ask for more help, but unfortunately we can't, sadly.
It is what it is.
We have noticed something very weird, though, lately. Just within the general border from Black Rain and Tanoyama. It's not that Black Rain's causing any problems, but it's more just... From what people are saying from from Tanoyama scouts, Black Death swamp creatures are actually leaving the swamp.
Oh, that's concerning.
Which seems to then... And he basically gestures as if, basically moving some Black Rain wildlife northward as well.
So it's not just wildlife. It's not just undead that are appearing in Pahola. It's also.
I think generally just creatures are being disturbed. Probably as you're dealing with stronger and more dangerous Dracoliches. Well, the vessels anyway.
Mm.
We also heard that people are going missing in Siltanok. But we don't know if that's related to that problem. The Dracoliches, it's just, Unfortunately, it just seems weird timing that a lot of weird stuff is happening as you're sort of dealing with bigger and badder things. I mean, to be fair, none of us actually knew about the problem with the flowers that you guys had.
Bro.
Mm-hmm.
I won't be... From what... And Turim actually does lift up a hand. From what we've gathered between Akira, Oryx, and I, it seems to be that as more seals are being lifted on the Dracolich, the more its influence on the land is causing problems.
Mm.
Lovely.
To be fair,
Oh.
from what...
Oh, nothing. I'm looking at my spells real quick to see which ones will be useful against undead.
To be fair, you'll have time to change your prepared spells on the way.
Mm-hmm.
So you can completely cater your spell list to deal with undead, don't worry.
Yeah, there are two spells in particular I think that'll be very useful to have prepared.
Turim does add, though, from what I've heard of the history of Pahola, several, and I mean several centuries ago, there was a very powerful king, a pharaoh, in fact, living in that lived to the southwest of Pahola. And from what we know, they were also a very powerful magic user.
But did
So
they
I
have an affinity for card games?
Do they wear a pyramid-like puzzle on their neck?
They have
Turim
crazy
just
ass
stands
hair.
there. Turim just. The thing is, the only thing you can ever see from Turim's face are their eyes, and they're just looking at you, like not even really reacting.
Just giving us a
Anyway.
flat stare.
I believe Kuro said as well that this thing seems to be erecting barriers that are absorbing energy.
Mm-hmm.
From what they've said in Pahola, they've been using magic, and that seems to be they seem to be getting absorbed. Conventional weapons don't seem to be getting... They seem to be actually... If they can't break the barrier, they can at least not be absorbed.
Mm-hmm.
Which, to be fair, Pahola does have an entire military force that has a lot of orcs. But, you know, there's only so much conventional weapons can do against a magical force, so...
Hence why we're being sent in, besides we're the only ones who can reasonably do this.
Yes. Which, I'm coming along with you anyway, because I might be able to figure some way to counteract the barriers if I'm there in person, to study them.
Hmm. I'm guessing you've gotten a briefing from Kuro and the others about what it's like inside one of the Dracolich pieces?
They nod, yes. I've been told that you get an influx of memories from the Dracolich in question before he was destroyed. And yes, you know, I should be capable of dealing with the problems. If all else, I can at least, you know, I might need to take breaks every now and then. I'm not as physically capable as the rest of you.
Aldane can carry you.
But nevertheless, I'm ready. I'm ready
Excellent.
to do whatever I need to do. And they just get on the boat.
Diron falls on.
Eldan will also get on the boat.
Felix will follow.
Felix stays behind.
Felix decides to nope out of this one and just stays.
Felix is just going to play Animal Crossing and be a decorator for his owl. But yeah, so as you get on the boat, you do hear the captain just call out that it's time to disembark. And you know, to be fair, it's actually a very large boat. It's actually, let me check the one. It's actually a warship. Which means it can basically hold up to 100 people. And it's like 100 feet by 20 feet as well, so it's quite large. You know, again, it's a warship, so it's meant for war. I'm looking at the description of it, and it's funny that it has condition immunities, like saying it can't be frightened or deafened, and I'm like, well, yeah, it's a boat.
Well, no shit.
If you could charm a boat, I'd be extremely confused.
Well, maybe the boat's considered a living person, just
I mean,
like
it's
the
not-
Look,
merry-go.
they gotta say it, otherwise people will try, kinda. You know this.
It's also immune to poison and psychic damage, which, to be fair, yeah, they're the only two non-physical damage types in the game that can't physically damage something really. So, or at least they can't damage a boat. In theory, you could poison a flower enough for it to die. But
Any
anyway.
living thing can be poisoned.
Yeah. I mean, even just some inanimate objects can be affected by poison, but that's neither here nor there.
Usually it's the more corrosive type of poison in that case.
As you get on the boat, though, again, you are reminded that it'll take about 3 days to get there. You are led to your cabins. You all have to share a room with each other.
Ew.
Oh, fucking deal with it.
To be fair, a warship can actually fit the intent is to fit 40 crew and 60 passengers, but this one looks more like a general military vessel where it shouldn't really be having the intent to make it good for civilians isn't really the point of the design. You know, in theory, you'd be sleeping with your fellow crew members in these rooms and putting up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you all get a room. There is an empty cot. Just because the crew did, the captain does actually say that you all get a room to yourself. You all get the room to yourselves because there's enough spare room anyway.
Yeah, so we can all go on our psychedelic dream trips without any disturbance from the crew.
Without any narcs, yeah. But yes. There was also something I wanted to say. It weren't that important, I don't think. Yeah. So yeah, it's just the 5 of you. You don't actually really have much other in the way of help. That was it. From what you've been told, this boat, other than just dropping you off, is also supposed to be offering aid to the people of Pahola.
Offering aids?
No. But just, basically they, what's it called? They're offering just humanitarian aid, doctors, actual medicine, some weapons as well. Just general cargo for aid. From what the captain tells you, though, Rua was actually supposed to be coming, but couldn't at the last minute.
I wonder. I hope he's okay.
Oh, he'll be fine.
The captain mostly just shrugs. He's not paid to know or care.
No,
Probably
I guess
just
mostly
kingly
mostly musing to themselves.
The captain's just happy because apparently Rua personally gave them all the crew a raise for this work. Because from what you know, the ship isn't actually what's it called? It's supposed to just be for military stuff. It's not meant to be really a purely humanitarian aid ship. But the crew don't care. They're getting work. They're doing stuff. But yeah, what's it called? Yeah, you're just on the ship. There's people you can talk to. You could just decide to read. You could decide to rest. It's up to you. You can all talk to Turim. You're all forced to talk to Turim if you want.
I think Darren's just gonna get used to wielding isolation again.
Yeah. It's almost like you've never not. It's almost like you've not stopped using it. It just feels as natural as you normally would use it. Eerily so. Yeah.
Aldeia is going to consult with her about spells.
If any of you want to be in this conversation, you can. I'm sure.
Now,
I'll be in it.
Felix
Darren
says,
doesn't really care about spells, so.
So Turim just looks and says, "What do you need my help with then, magic-wise?"
Well, I'm trying to figure out which spells I should have prepared for when we go to deal with all these undead. I have a few spells that would work quite well against in dealing with them, but
You're a paladin, aren't you, Eldane?
indeed.
They actually reach inside their cloak and pull out a book. and it actually has what looks like a general holy symbol. And they just look and just say, "Give me a second as I consult the list of spells that paladins should have." This is the.
They're pulling up 5e.
He's got 5e.
He's actually got the player's handbook. Let me have a look as the DM for what paladin spells are.
Remember that Aldean is also a devotion paladin, so
It's not that much different though, and it comes it should say anyway. The stuff that I've got does say if they are from a subclass.
oh,
Yeah,
okay,
let
cool.
me have a look. So, so Turim says protection from evil and good might be an option.
I thought as much.
You
I
could give
wanted to-
someone, if not yourself, the ability to, what is it called?
It gives an advantage against the undead in particular, correct?
Well, they have disadvantage against you. Whoever has that spell casting them has disadvantage on. So if you did undead, any undead would basically have disadvantage on that character, which might be good for you, or just, I don't know, depends. But yeah, that's always an option they suggest. Searing Smite would be good because burning undead would actually be really good to stop them from coming back. Burning the body or just completely obliterating them would be good. So Turim actually suggests any of your smite abilities, if you wanted to, would be very helpful. Even Thunderous Smite or Raffle... Well, Raffle Smite wouldn't be as good, because a lot of they even say, if they are basically zombies, psychic attacks wouldn't really be as effective.
No, my standard divine smite will also probably be effective.
But basically, Turim just says anything that will just destroy the body, if you guys just don't decide to, like, mutilate the corpses so that they don't have much to come back from.
What about gentle repose?
That's just, yeah, but that's, they do nod and say yes, but unfortunately that means you'd have to do that with every individual corpse.
No,
So
I
what I'm
wouldn't
hearing
plan on
is-
doing that.
Vicious
I would-
mockery and cutting words isn't going to really do much against the undead in this situation, yeah?
Turim reaches in and pulls out another thing that looks like an instrument. Well, from what I know of bards and their abilities, cutting words shouldn't be a problem because you're only making hits not hit you. Vicious Mockery would still be good, it just probably wouldn't do as much damage as it normally does. But then again, Vicious Mockery isn't 4 damage, is it now? Vicious Mockery is more just to disable enemies, Turim adds.
That is true.
But yes, Turim just says, from what I know of your level of skill, Aldain, not to put you down at all, but just, as a paladin, I probably would just recommend you continue doing what you're normally doing. If you don't already have protection from evil and good, I'd probably just have that ready.
What about prayer of healing? Would that be helpful to have?
I mean, it has no effect on undead and constructs, but who are you fighting alongside that are constructs and undead? It's just, basically people get healing. It's entirely up to you. From what I know of your level of paladin and your strength, there's not really much that you have right now that can change much against dealing with undead. To be completely fair, I mean, your basic smites do extra damage from what I know of against undead.
Oh, it does.
Does anyone have any other questions about magic that I can recommend?
You just hear Dara just crashing to the floor.
How effective is necrotic damage? I'm guessing not very, but I'd like to ask the question at the very least.
Most undead are usually immune to necrotic damage.
Right. So no Toll the Dead.
They're either immune or just... It's one of them, you could still use it. To be fair, some undead are also just immune to being poisoned, and only poison, so... Turim shrugs. If you've got firebolts, just use that. You might as well. Firebolt, Eldritch Blast, Shocking Grasp. Just anything that isn't really poison or necrotic will get you well.
Shatter.
I mean, that's not a cantrip, but yeah.
I know. I just can't wait to shatter some zombies.
I mean, it would be a good idea. It would obliterate the corpses. I myself also have Shatter at the ready to use.
Nice.
So, tentatively, the spells I have prepared are Bless, Command, Cure Wounds, Divine Favor, Protection from Evil and Good, Enduring Smite, Shield of Faith, Thunderous Smite, Aid, Lesser Restoration, Magic Weapon, and Prayer of Healing.
Term just nods. Okay.
Those should be a good loadout.
With you at
Alright.
the front, Haldane, I shouldn't really need to worry about casting Mage Armor, actually.
You would think that.
Better safe than sorry.
I mean, from what we've been told, and from what most undead can do, they shouldn't really have ranged opportunities. Anything that can attack at a range is probably already very strong anyway. So, in theory, you'd be using your smites to kill them as quick as possible.
Yes. That is true.
I also recently learned Dispel Magic as well, so if there's any problems with, you know, barriers, I should just be able to immediately muscle through them that way.
Good. That's good.
I have Dispel Magic as well, so...
Admittedly, a lot of my spells are mostly just attack, like, defensive spells. I'm not really a fighter.
You're a lover, not a fighter?
I'm just not a fighter.
Respectable to women?
I mean, the worst spell I have for attacking is Sickening Radiance.
That is a mean one, to be fair.
That's the spell for people who don't know.
It is a very mean one.
That's a spell you basically use to turn a room into a gas chamber if you don't care about fighting anyone that's in a room.
Mm-hmm.
It's a disgustingly nasty spell.
That's a fun one. I like it. Can I get it?
You could with Magical Secrets, if you wanted to use that up.
Well, what
It's
can the
not-
other
that's
spells you
true.
have available to
It's not.
But I
yeah,
only
well,
get I only
it's
get 2 magical secret spells, right, at a time.
What were you gonna say, Haldane?
Oh no, I'm this is out of character. Just like make sure you know what you want. Make sure to double check all your options before you hone in on one spell. You know.
Yeah, I know, Jack.
Actually, from what I know anyway, most undead are immune to exhaustion, so it's not that useful, but it's still something I can use for just big damage in a radius. Sadly, I'm not an evocation wizard, so I couldn't protect you all from the effects.
That's fine.
Would survive. Sure.
I mean, if you were in that, you'd potentially be having to immediately run out, because, you know, if you get caught in Sickening Radiance over time, you become more and more exhausted until you can't escape it anyway, and then you just die.
Yep.
That's if the damage doesn't kill you.
Yep.
But unless you need my info for anything, I'll probably just be in the quarters for the most part.
Alright.
You
Understood.
You notice as Turin puts their books away and pulls out another book and starts to read. So,
Oh, they definitely have all they need, really.
do any of you want to do anything else? Do any of you
Nope.
want to talk amongst each other? Do you want to... I don't know. You can always look out to the sea.
They gaze longingly at the ocean.
Felix is going to take the chance to relax while he can.
No problem. Do any of you read any of
Seamus
the
is going to practice
documentation?
some music.
Do any of you read the documentation you got, by the way?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say if any of you want to read it as a group, you can, just to like, you know.
Oh, sure.
I'm gonna say, did any of you put the books in the party loot that I said, or at least the documents that you got?
I think so, yeah. Certainly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if we
Um,
organize them by title.
You've got the category of the cult's failures. That's what catalog. That's what you've called it. You also have the book based on the current cults of the Tarask leaders, and also some info about previous ones.
Is that the Book of Famous Humans?
Yes.
Yes.
No. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've got a Book of Famous Humans noted down for myself.
Yeah, and there should also be the book, the historical book of people who are involved in the war against humans. That war 80 years ago. Well, 81 now at this point, I think. But yeah.
Point is, it's been a hot minute.
Yeah, it's one of them. Like, you've got that book if you want to learn more about like what Rua's dad, like who Rua's dad killed. It's up to you what you want to read.
Let's see. Which one do I want to read?
You could always flip a coin.
Yeah, you know what? Let's. How many book options are there?
3.
Roll a d4.
Oh, darn. I was gonna roll a d4.
I mean, if you land,
Just
I mean
roll
the
a
D,
d4 and-
the D4.
I'll roll a d4, and if it lands on a 4, I'll just re-roll.
Yeah.
All right, 3.
Which one's 3?
You really should have assigned the
It's-
books to the numbers before you rolled.
The Book of Famous Humans, I guess.
Okay. So as you read the tome, this book, the beginning stuff already has very glowing words about the brave soldiers and gifted people who've rose through the ranks. So earned their titles that they've got today. The first person in the book is actually Colgin, the one who cut off Rua's arm. You notice though in the book, the depiction of Colgin is helmeted. In fact, the book even mentions about how Colgin's quite weird because he rarely ever takes off the helmet. And even around some friends and family, he doesn't remove it.
Interesting.
Oftentimes, he even goes off alone to eat, if he isn't already doing that anyway because of his work. But from what you know, from what the book says, Colgan is probably the best in terms of pure martial skill amongst the group. Typically, the title of Colgan is actually given to people who are considered the best in terms of martial ability.
Fascinating.
Colgan actually won their Sword of Sharpness actually from doing a solo mission, and now they are known as this is basically Colgan's title, similar to how what's it called? Orkan had the Chill of Death. Let me find the thing. Yeah, here we go. What's the title again? I'm checking my notes. There you go.
Stalwart sword, huh?
Yes.
Fascinating.
In fact, this book even has a little addendum for Colgan, basically noting how their most recent achievement of actually being it even has an addendum of how Colgan's most recent achievement was actually, like, cutting off the arm of Rua Everay.
Oh, this is a very recent thing then. It's a very
And
recent book.
This addendum's quite recent, though. Like, it looks like this has been something that's been written later.
Hmm.
But it basically says how the research opportunities for the arm have probably helped advance their work by maybe a decade. According to the writer's estimation.
Hmm.
It also goes on to add that for Colgan, they also have quite a few different. They also have a few different family members, such as a younger brother and 3 older sisters. And hey, you've met the younger brother.
Mm-hmm.
It actively doesn't mention the other family members, though, like by name.
Fascinating.
But yeah, that's pretty much the information you glean during the time you read it. It's all pretty easy to pass through, mostly because it seems like it's basically just a list of like, oh, these famous people, and who they are and what they've done.
Mm-hmm.
It does. One other thing to add, actually, before I forget, it does mention how Colgan is vehemently opposed to using the Terras to basically empower humans.
Let me guess, because it dilutes the purity or some shit.
From what it seems like, from what you read in the book, it basically mentions how Colgan believes that getting shortcuts to improving oneself ultimately ends up, like, ruining your potential.
Hmm.
And it even says how Colgan was actually not going to be considered for the role, or the title even, of Colgan, based on their vehement opposal to the cult decision of what, their research.
Mm-hmm.
It's only because he was just that good that they couldn't not, like, promote him. Yeah. Does anyone else want to do anything while Aldane reads? If he doesn't share that info with the class anyway while he's reading it.
Darren's just chilling.
I was going to say, I remember you, Dylan, saying that Seamus was going to play music.
Yeah, he's gonna be practicing some of his songs.
Give me a performance check then.
Coolio.
Yep. So you play as you're sort of playing music. You do see people walking past your door, actually clapping you and like cheering you on and like complimenting you.
Nice.
It's a nice vibe that's going on. What about you, Felix?
As I said, Felix is just taking the chance to relax after,
Fair.
a quite stressful week and a bit, and what's promising to be also quite stressful.
I was going to say, give me a mindfulness check. That'd be wisdom, I would say, but you don't have to. That was mostly a joke. But yeah, as you sort of, like, enjoy the sort of first day of boating, I guess you could say, I'm going to call a break.
Good idea.
I'll be right back.
As will I.
So that's 2 out of the 3 the Tarask leaders that have confirmed I've spelled their fucking names wrong in my notes. because yeah, I did not think Colgan was spelled like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that either.
I went with Colgan, which, you know.
Oh, I would have went with Colgen.
Either way, some combination of COLG, either, you know, E, I, or A would have worked.
Could have also been you in some fucked up universe. Colgan. Fuck. Oh, shit. Yo, have you ever heard of the video game Enter the Gungeon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm playing it right now. It's so much fun. I finally unlocked the gunslinger.
One would think slinging would be important in a game called Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah. Well, if you've played it and you know kind of how the mechanics and everything works, basically, if you get the gunslinger and you play as the gunslinger, every gun you pick up is synergized. It has a synergy. If you know what a synergy is.
Not especially. I know of Enter the Gungeon. I haven't played it at all.
Yeah. So basically, if you get two items that pair well together, it does what it synergizes. So basically, you get extra effects on top of it. Like, for example, there's this one item called Gungeon Ant, where it fires like gas out, and then after you reload the first time, it flips around, then it starts shooting fireballs, so it can light a room on fire and kill enemies that way. But then if you get like, I forget which item exactly, I think it's a crown of some kind, then it synergizes into the Queen Ant, and then you're firing rocket fire shit. And so like there's synergies like that where they'll stack up, make a weapon more powerful. Basically every gun you pick up with the gunslinger, you have a synergy that makes it more powerful.
Alright.
I don't know if that was a good explanation, but yeah. It's a fun game. If you haven't picked it up yet, I'd recommend.
I honestly have enough games to be getting on with anyway.
Oh, true. Yeah, this is like it's one of those like kind of 2-bit indie games. It's a dungeon crawler.
Yeah, it's a roguelike as well, isn't it?
What do you mean by that?
Like it's
like roguelike?
Roguelike, yeah. Or roguelike, whatever the actual name is.
I will say it is it's like a bullet hell kind of game.
I'm not good with bullet hells.
I'm usually not either, but there's a strategy to this game. And it's pretty fun. It's a nice mindless game to play every now and then.
But yeah, I asked a question about necrotic damage because I was just looking through my spells, realized Toll the Dead was necrotic, was like, that necromancy probably doesn't work all that well against, or certainly necrotic damage probably doesn't work all that well against undead, does it?
Yeah,
seem
seeing as
like,
they're already dead, so
yeah.
making them more dead wouldn't really help.
Just seems like a poor way to deal with undead. But,
Mayhaps.
but whatever, I've got plenty of other offensive spells.
Yeah, you got good cantrips, don't you?
Well, I've got Firebolt in terms of cantrips and Shocking Grasp if they get near, so...
Yeah, it's not bad.
You know, Chromatic Orb and Vitriolic Sphere will probably work quite well as well.
I have heat metal, so that's pretty versatile. If there's anybody with any bit of metal on them, I can have fun with that.
Yeah.
So I think in a support role, you and I are a good pair because we got some good long range offensive spells, and then we can also take care of ourselves in close range if needed. And then we just got like the inspiration spells and all the healing spells and buffs.
Just quickly check something for me. Does your Dracolich piece give you resistance to acid damage as well, or is that just mine?
I think mine gives me resistance to psychic damage. I forget where I put the description of it.
Hello. What's this about?
I'm just asking you, do all the Dracolich pieces give resistance to acid damage, or is it just mine?
I think it's only yours, because
Yeah, I think
It's
mine
supposed to
gives
be
me.
it's supposed to be a cloak. Because
I think mine gives me resistance to what? Psychic damage? If I had to remember.
It should be in our DMs. Maybe with my old account though.
Yeah, shit. I know I wrote it on my character sheet somewhere. I just can't remember where I put it.
Oh, it's in our DMs. Yeah, you don't get resistance to it. Oh no, you get resistance to psychic damage.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I put it in the weapon.
Yep.
Description.
Alright, just
So
wanted to
resistance
check.
to psychic damage.
Yeah, just wanted to check. 'cause-
Indignation makes them resistant to charm and fear effects.
Again, just thought I'd check, because if you all
Wait.
were resistance to acid damage, I would not feel bad about throwing Vitriolic Sphere around.
Yeah,
Well, you'll unfortunately have to feel bad about it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. What's happening now?
Oh, yeah, with the charm and fear effects, Aldane, that was just because of Pelios. It's actually not a thing that the weapon actually would change depending on the race of the person, but because Seamus already has resistance to charm and fear effects because of Fey ancestry, I was like, well, being immune to it just makes Fey ancestry redundant, so I'd rather just give him a different resistance.
Yeah, that's indignation though, which is
Yeah, that was Pelios' version.
yeah.
Like
I
for
don't
Seamus's,
see
it
in
just has
our-
resistance to psychic damage.
What was that?
It's
Outrage.
so Seamus, yeah, outrage. I don't think gives you anything like that.
I don't see outrage in our DMs, so.
It's in the general chat actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't have any resistances unless you were to use the rage mechanic. You don't get rage. You don't get resistance.
Yeah, the inverse of that is the rage mechanic.
Yeah.
But whatchamacallit? Oh yeah. Yeah, I think I'm ready.
Again,
I'm here.
Seamus, Dylan, even. Are you here?
Yeah, give me 1 minute.
No, it's no problem. I'm just making sure.
Yeah,
I was
I'm gonna hit the
anyway,
bathroom real quick before we go
Why didn't you use it sooner? It's all
because
good.
I was distracted by something else.
It's alright.
Yeah. But
Oh no.
what?
What?
Final Fantasy 14 Twitter asking which raid boss would you ask out for Valentine's Day?
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Look,
So
it's
Dragon-
Ysael, and that's the correct answer. Or mommy, or
Well, no,
mommy.
no, raid boss.
Yeah, mommy.
So it's not even. I've not even seen Nafika. Oh no, I've seen a Nafika. Surprisingly far down the list. I'm seeing more of what's he called? The Eden boss that's big that looks like Fankred. Him. I'm seeing more of him. Well,
You mean
but
Eden?
anyway. Not the Eden
Uh.
boss itself, but the Fankred boss in the Eden raid.
Speaking of video games, I finally finished the 6th Palace in Persona 5.
Oh, nice.
Congratulations.
I do have one thing to say. Lol, get fucked, Trader Kun.
Fair.
It was just fun seeing him get outplayed so thoroughly.
Look, I feel bad for them, but also they shot me in the head, so I can't feel that bad.
They're not meant to be like. I think if people, because I've seen people defend them.
No, I love him, but I will not defend his actions.
No,
Yeah,
He's fun as like an idiot rival.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's meant to be a foil. That's the point.
Mhm.
Honestly,
You know,
get it?
you know, just like how the last traitor in Persona 4 was also a foil.
Yes.
Mm,
But Jack, did you get? How far did you get into his social link?
I got to rank 8,
Okay. The end
which
of
is the
rank
highest
8.
I believe you can go before.
Yeah, but like the bit of like at rank 8 where he like pretty much just lays it out that he's gonna fucking kill you is just great. It's just mwah, excellent writing team.
Uh-huh.
He's either
honestly,
gonna
Robbie Damon is so goated.
Mm-hmm.
He is.
he's either gonna kill you or he's gonna fuck you, or both.
Yes.
Maybe at the
No,
same
he's
time.
He's gonna fucking kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at the moment I'm just playing Star Ocean, the new one. It's actually surprisingly fun.
Mm.
Dragon's Dogma and Final Fantasy 14. I'm getting pissed off with 14 now.
Understandable, honestly.
I'm aside from just friendship drama, I'm getting stuck in the MSQ and it's pissing me off. Gen might share my woes.
Yeah.
That's the bit.
All right, we're back. We're ready.
But yes, so if we're all ready, let's jump back in.
Oh, yeah,
So,
that's a pain in the ass of a fight.
I've failed 7 times.
Jesus.
But yeah,
Is it the like in Quest 1 or the actual?
the duty fight.
Oh yeah, that's a
The-
pain in the ass.
Not the actual what's it called? I mean the solo duty. But
yeah. I know
Yeah.
exactly
Oh.
which one. Mm-hmm.
So, we're all jumping back in. So, yeah, for the most part, your first event, your first day is pretty chill. Like, you know, you do hear a ring of the bell for when it's time to eat. You know, a few people actually do, like, give you space. They don't actually seemingly want to bother you. From what it looks like, you do actually recognise a couple of people, just from, like, considering your line of work sort of involves you working with, like, medical people, like, soldiers, just emergency service people and all that. You recognise a surprising number of people just amongst the crew. And, you know, they give you, like, the, what's it called now? Like, just a nod of respect, you know. But yeah, they basically just don't want to bother you because they know you're like coming in to save the day. But otherwise, yeah, you get your lunch. It's not amazing, your food that you're getting on the boat, but to be fair, it's supposed to just be serviceable food that, you know, you're not going to get unhealthy from.
It is better than what we got in prison and what we had to make when we were on the run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say no, but yeah, it's better because you're actually getting a chef for one. You
Well,
know,
Felix
having
is,
an
Felix is going to
actual
work on the
cook
cooking.
on the boat
Yeah.
helps so much.
Felix is going to work on the cooking thing. Just in case.
Never hurts to learn how to cook. I mean, hey, the lady, from what I hear, people do find cooking attractive. Something for Seamus to always try, if he cares.
Try what now?
Cooking.
Ew.
I guess not.
And that's why he's single, Seamus.
That's why I have no bitches.
No, here's why Seamus is really single. Cooking's a woman's job, dude. What the
Oh,
fuck?
don't.
I mean,
start.
if you got that, you'd get looked at by everyone, especially the male chef.
Yeah, no, you get several funny looks for actually saying that.
I think Dyron would
yeah,
actually
it's a
dope slap
joke.
you.
Felix would dope slap
Yeah,
you with,
and he would absolutely deserve it.
Felix would dope slap you with shocking grasp.
I think Dyron would also do that.
Aldea would dope slap him with a gauntlet.
Or it's
And probably
yeah,
vicious smite. I got it. Dude, it's a joke. Let it be.
I mean, if you're gonna make a joke, at least make it a funny joke, you know.
Exactly.
Oh no!
If I had timed it right and made it comedic, you guys would have thought I was serious, and that would have been a whole different story. At
Wow,
least
that
this
was
way you
really-
guys know I wasn't serious.
I mean,
Yeah,
the,
that was a really shit first roll.
Yeah,
though.
the first roll was shit, but the second roll
Also,
was pretty
here's some
good.
new music, because I don't want this music to be the whole thing that the viewers would have to listen to.
So yeah, Seamus, you take 17 damage.
Nice.
Imagine it, hypothetical imaginary damage. Yes, so, yep, you're just eating food. During the, you notice though, because Turim's actually there, you notice, basically, every time Turim's about to eat, they turn their head away from you guys. You notice they basically lift up the mask and put the fork of food in their mouth before putting it down. The mask, I mean. You know, putting it against their face so they can chew.
Felix stares for a moment, but shrugs and turns away. It's not his business.
Can I help you, Felix?
No.
Please don't stare then.
I'm not. I turned away.
I could feel you staring at me.
For a second.
That's 61 second. A second? That's 2 seconds too long for my liking.
So am I supposed to just never look at you?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with looking at me. It's just, you know, you could at least ask before you stare.
I'm not even
Oh, you
sure
know,
a second
talk.
constitutes a stare.
It's long enough for my liking. I try to be beneath suspicion if I can help it, but unfortunately, I don't get that option anymore of my life.
That is unfortunate.
From what I've heard, the cult of the Tarrasque have actually put myself on some of their wanted, like, bounties.
I'm not surprised. They are primarily composed of assholes.
Racist assholes, but assholes nonetheless.
To be fair, before they did raid my house, at one point they did actually visit and asked if I'd be willing to work with them.
I assume you turned them down?
I mean, they wouldn't have raided my home if I'd accepted.
I don't know.
They're kind of dumb.
They wouldn't have taken all of my shit, I'd have given it them. But no,
Hmm.
I didn't want to. I actively oppose what they do, so... You know.
Can't really blame you.
I have my own hang-ups with humans. Not that I'm willing to talk about it, though. If that's okay.
What's Leon doing in all of this?
Leon's, like, in Centralis, basically helping give information that he knows, and, like... He's also technically in witness protection, because he is a traitor.
Yeah, he's an informant.
Because, you know, Orkan lived to tell the tale.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now,
We probably
like,
couldn't tie off that loose end.
Leon's basically, you know, what's it called now?
Persona
Yeah.
non grata.
Yeah. Like, he will probably be killed on sight, regardless of his relationship with his brother.
Well,
Yeah.
well, that's unfortunate for him, but we can't really do anything about it at the moment.
Hey ho, Leon is not a terrible person. That's, what he gets, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's rewarded as a traitor deserves. But yes, so it's one of them as well. Leon also had a really bad fucking scar from when he got hit by Orkan, so he sort of needs to deal with that. But anyway.
Yeah, he got kind of fucked up.
Mm-hmm. He actually does have a scar now, where Orkan cut him.
Oh, where is it? Like on the chest or something?
It's basically from the middle of his left shoulder, like, going diagonally down, like, yeah. It's like, it actually, like, the scar actually goes over where his heart would be, as well. Like, it was a really grievous cut. If Orkan had actually gotten deeper, he would have struck the heart and probably destroyed Leon's ribs. But, But anyway. So yeah, Turim does actually say that when we get there, from what I've been told as well, we should be getting supplied with clothes that will help us manage with the heat. Because, if Aldane goes out in that desert heat, he's going to die.
Oh, absolutely. I'll be cooked alive.
So yeah,
Oh, well, it is what it is.
I don't know what the plan's going to be, though, for when we actually touch down in Santusk and get sent out.
By the way, what time of year is it, again? Are we, like, in spring or something?
Good question. I believe so. I'll have to sort out, I'll have to personally check, because I've forgotten actually what time of year it is. But it is definitely in spring.
Yeah. The heat shouldn't be as terrible as it would be in, like, a couple months.
No, it could be worse, but it's still not great.
Oh, absolutely.
To be fair, you're assuming that do we have like a north and south hemisphere on this landmass, or?
Yeah, you do.
So the seasons switch like
from what you know, and because what Akira has actually told you, based on now that you know that there are continents to the north and south of you, the south isn't actually as hot as it would be, say, in real life. Like, the very bottom of Centralis, where the city is, gets somewhat warm, but it's not that bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can only imagine the Ebony Imperium, based on it being the southernmost part of the map, is, like, the hottest that the continent of Tyrol has. You actually
because it is, like...
You should
So
actually
all of Tyrol is in the northern hemisphere, is what you're saying?
A good chunk of it is, yeah. You'd have to ask Akira what it's like, actually, because he actually knows, because he's been all around.
I imagine Trader is somewhere around, like, southern Pahola, then.
Yeah. It's not... again, because, this is all artistic license, geography and, like, physics and shit, but yeah, like... From what you know, the continent of the sky is further north, and the continent of the sea is further south.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But yeah, that's how it be. The current climate, though, is not that bad. It's quite... It can be warm, but, it's one of them, it's... Centralis is also a more temperate country, I should say that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that, Centralis. Cordis is a temperate country. But anyway.
We're getting off topic here.
Yeah.
Getting lost in the weeds.
Mm-hmm. The boat's actually quite stable. It probably helps that it's like a big one designed to be, efficient as possible. But you know, like you're not really. It's only very rarely do you notice that like the boat is like swaying, and that's more when it's having to like actively turn to like go to Torrent's direction, because the boat's actually disembarked southward, so it does not in this exact manner, but it does have to turn quite a bit to get to Torrent. From what you've been told as well, it's not actually stopping at the Blue Sands Resort unless there's an emergency.
Unfortunate, but necessary.
I mean, unless you want to speak to the, your turtle friend again.
No, we shouldn't delay. This seems like a very urgent mission.
Yeah. But yeah. You have your lunch, because it would be, you would get notified when it's 12 to eat. Do any of you do anything after you have your lunch, or do you just sort of go back and rest still?
Elden's probably going to take it easy.
Felix is just continuing to rest. He knows the next few days are probably going to be pretty difficult.
Yeah, Darren's doing the same.
Seamus gonna keep on strumming his lyre of building.
Yeah. Turim's just going to read, then. Turim's just going to read a different book that they were reading compared to before. Seems like Turim has a lot of books in their cloak.
Actually, Darren's gonna ask Turim if Turim has a book on gardening.
Not the library.
I mean, if he knows any books that I could get when we get back to Centralis. Gardening for dummies.
They pause. I'll give you a list of stuff you can probably get from the library. Sure.
Yeah, I figured I'd start trying to learn how to garden.
I mean, it'll help for your house. Which, by the way,
Mhm.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, mostly
Hey.
just wanted to...
I had a house before I moved into a tower. That tower.
I thought you were
actually
gonna
used to be-
say something a lot
Yeah.
more dark.
That tower
I had a
used to
house,
actually be-
and then it was taken
that
by
tower
Cole.
used- That tower actually used to be Oryx's tower.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Technically, because from what he told me, his master used to live in that area where it used to be a town. That we're talking like hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Before Cordis was renamed before Cordis had its name changed after being liberated. But yeah, that used to be a town, and that was the Wizard's Tower that Oryx lived at when he was a kid.
Interesting.
But he came across me, saw my magical potential, and gave it me as a gift. In return, I have to go wherever he wants me to repay him. I'm not coming with you guys to repay him. This is my own
Okay.
thing that I've been called
Oh.
in for.
Okay, I was about to say,
Oryx called me in to help with Rua's prosthetic, which I will say he has taken to very well.
That's good to hear.
He's actually having a lot more fun than I expected. For someone who had their arm cut off. Also, accidentally killed the dad, and yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing's a nightmare.
I was mostly there for the initial rehabilitation stages of him. Once he got used to living without an arm, and then the prosthetics were added, I didn't really need to be there anymore.
Out of character, what are the prosthetics like in this universe?
So from what Turim actually does tell you, the prosthetic that they've given to Rua is probably the most advanced replacement limb that will probably exist for another few centuries, or at least a century.
Wow.
This is mostly because Oryx.
But
It's
what's it like? Is it like
It's pretty good, to be fair, because there is actually artificial limbs that you can get in the game. Like they're
So,
actually
like,
magical
auto-mail?
items. Kind of, yeah. They're basically
Okay.
magically powered, and there's very little lag, I guess you could say, from using a limb like you would normally. There's a slight one, and to be fair, if anything fucks you over in terms of magic, like dispel magic or anti-magic fields, the arm is useless. Which is actually why, what's it called? The arm that Rua has is meant to be mostly mechanical.
Oh, so it can. Okay, I gotcha.
So the arm basically can work normally, but from what Turim describes and actually tells you of the arm that Rua has, it's actually directly linked to his very soul.
Huh.
So apart from the lack of touch, it's basically just as good as a normal arm, like a biological one. The only difference is that he describes is that the arms that Rua can attach onto his arm are quite heavy. Which means for someone like Felix or Seamus, they would be quite unwieldy.
Sounds about right.
Because he basically describes how it works and how he basically points to his own upper right arm, like the bicep, and just describes how basically a cylinder of mechanics and magic equipment have basically been slotted into his shoulder that then links to his soul to keep it in place. And then where the elbow would be for an arm, Rua can then slot in like forearms and hands that then can work. All of the arms, from what he says, are actually all very powerful. However, because of this, if Rua gets hurt even the slightest bit, even a paper cut would actually affect the arm. And yeah, because basically what he says is, if Rua uses any of his arms, these mechanical arms that he can do things with, and gets hurt even a tiny bit, they actually explode.
Yeah, that's gonna come up again, isn't it?
The upper right arm, Turim describes, doesn't get destroyed. It's just the forearm and the hand that gets blown up. But it won't hurt Rua. But the point is, in exchange for this power, and how strong these arms are, they're very volatile. And this is because, if Rua just had slotted one of these artificial forearms into his actual limb, when they would explode, the blowback would actually maybe damage his soul, which is why this upper right arm exists to act as a filter to his soul. Because otherwise, an arm blowing up might actually just immediately kill him.
Yeah, that tracks.
But if Rua does get strong enough, and doesn't want to regenerate his arm, or, does regenerate his arm, he could train himself to not need to worry about the blowback even then. But that might take several years of training. Which is something that none of us have right now. We can't just tell the Dracolich to wait a decade or so until Rua's capable, can we?
Nope.
But yeah. It should be fun though when you see him again. I mean, hey, it's not like he has much else in the way of, I don't know, godly blessings like you guys do. Or,
Yeah.
Cursed, evil, magical weaponry. I mean, he has his Moonblade, and then Turim just shrugs. I don't know. How are you all doing with those weapons and cloak, by the way?
So far, so good.
Yeah, honestly, that is the feeling. It almost feels like, how do I describe it? In a way, it's almost like you can basically feel that you have clothes on, I guess is the best way to describe it. Like, when you're not attuned to them, it almost just feels like you're naked, I guess is the best way to describe it. It's a very weird sensation anyway, because you can actively feel the existence of the weapon, or cloak in Felix's case, that you have. It'd be a weird feeling for anyone, so. But otherwise, there's not, the weapons don't really seem to be, how do I describe it? They seem to more just be glad that you have them again. Which I guess is also weird.
Dyer's just like, you miss me, buddy?
It's more that they're just glad that they're. How do I describe it? I guess it's more just glad that they aren't fallen into the wrong hands, but not in a good way, really, because these are evil weapons. In fact, as the night gets older, and you sort of get into like the evening, you start to feel some resonance, and you find yourselves looking into the direction of like where the boat is basically like. How do I describe it? You find yourselves looking westward, like the four of you. Not like you're forced to, but you feel like you can sense the other Dracolich piece in the distance. Hundreds of miles away.
I really gotta stop eating nachos before bed.
By the way, does anybody else have the Soul Eater song theme song stuck in their head? Because I do now.
Yeah. That
Look,
would
it's
be
because
funny.
I heard resonance and it's like, oh, Soul Resonance, and then immediately went to Soul Eater.
Yep, that's fair. That's fair.
But yeah,
Banging OP.
Soul resonance.
You can feel the very faintest pulse though coming from your equipment, like the Dracolich piece. It's very faint though. Honestly, if you weren't used to the Dracolich pieces, you probably wouldn't notice it really.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm gonna say unless you want to do anything else before you like rest up on the boat, I'm gonna say it's just the next day.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So, as you sort of rest up, as you all go to bed on the boat, it's actually not that bad. The cots you have are pretty comfortable considering. And yeah, during the night, as you all fall asleep, the next day comes. You do hear a bell being rung at about 5 in the morning, which is probably much earlier than any of you would like, but
Felix doesn't care.
Yeah, Felix would already be awake, but it's still, your friends have to probably deal with being woken up by it. It's one of them, though. It's not too bad that you can't roll back over again until, 6 o'clock or something. But yeah, as the morning comes, you do hear a knock on your door, though, to your room.
Who?
Do you say who? Like, actually in character?
No, like, is it Dyron's room or?
Well,
we're
you're all in
in
the same
We're all
room.
in a room
Okay.
together.
Hello?
We just have our own bunks. But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I misunderstood. But yes, Dyron goes. Who's there?
Part the crew. The captain wants to borrow you all for a brief moment.
Okay.
2 seconds.
Insight check.
Bullshit check.
Just got it. Ah, fuck off.
No, that's what an insight check is. It's a bullshit check.
Yeah.
No, my
oh,
Chrome
no,
just
again.
crashed again.
Ah,
I didn't like your insight check.
No.
Yeah, you got
You
double
got
16,
by the way.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, it's the crew. Yeah, it sounds like a crew member. They, probably is a crew member.
All right.
Unless
Dyron,
For the
was a-
ship by the crew.
Unless it was a spy, and at that point there's 5 of you versus 1 spy, or maybe more. You don't know what. You can't actually see on the other side of the door, but you're sure Felix would have heard something.
Yeah, probably.
I assume Darren just glances at Felix, who has a no thoughts, head empty look on his face.
Yep.
It's one of them though. Basically, like if this was a spy, this would be a really shit way of dealing with you.
Mm-hmm. Probably been better to just poison our food.
Yeah, like, or just sink the fucking boat.
Yep.
yeah, you. If any of you open the door, you see a crew member who's been waiting the whole however long you take.
Felix would have
Yep.
woken Seamus up with a small bucket of seawater. Just
As
a
you
bit of
all
a
get
sign.
up, you see a member of the crew, and they just say, "Are you all ready to go?"
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They take you along. You get led through the boat, and you see the captain. The ship captain basically gives you all a warm smile and just gives you a nod and says, "I hope you enjoyed the sleep last night. If not,
Yep.
there's not much I can do about it.
Can't be helped.
You'll have to tell HR."
You guys have HR?
No,
Nice.
we have a union, but we don't have a HR.
Yeah, union's good.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, I wanted to ask you all if you'd be willing to help contribute on the boats. I know you're all adventurers and you all have better things to do than help us people.
No,
We
that's
can
fine.
help. What do you
Okay.
need?
I mean, I wasn't really asking, I was telling you you'd need to be doing some jobs. You're the strong one out of these lot, aren't you? Points to you, Aldane.
Yes, physically speaking.
I need you to help the crew with just things like dealing with the ropes, working with the sails, and all that lot.
I can do that.
Then he points at you, Dairon. You have very good eyesight, don't you?
I would like to think so.
We'd like you to help do shifts in the crow's nest.
Yeah, that's fair.
I believe, given you're an air genasi, and I don't want to assume, but you know, I'm not stupid, you have levitate, right?
Yep.
Well, in any event, you can always use that. I'd also ask if you can use that on anyone who might fall out for any various reason.
I can
Shouldn't
only
be.
do that once a time, but sure.
Well, you know, I hope, in theory, we shouldn't be needing that. Or if someone goes overboard, you can at least lift them up with that. Okay?
Okay.
Then he just rubs his chin at you, Felix and Seamus.
I can sort of
You, and he
cook.
points at you, Seamus.
What? me?
You play music, right?
Yeah, I do.
Go down to the kitchen and see what they want you to do.
Okay.
You, painter boy. I assume you're a painter with them brushes and ink.
Yes.
Narrows his eyes as he tries to think of a job that you might be able to help with.
I can cook a little bit.
What can you make?
What did I make on the trip?
Macaroni and cheese.
Cooked some deer, cooked a little bit of boar, cooked some fish. It was pretty good, wasn't it, guys?
Yeah.
How's about this?
Sure.
You can... How about... You must have pens and pencils, right?
Yeah.
Or at least a
Yes.
pencil. Go down to inventory and take some stock for us. And make sure their numbers are also correct as well and do some counting. Can you do that for me?
Sure.
Excellent. Yep. So you're all sent off to do work. Aldane, you're asked to help with doing sales and just doing all that, like the more physical manual work.
Mm-hmm.
As you go there, you see a lot of burly and like tall or muscular types.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you get some work done. Give me three athletics checks.
Okay.
Oh.
Ooh.
So at first, you sort of get in the hang of it. You pick it up pretty quickly. As time goes on, you do fantastic actually, and a few of the people actually go on break because you're actually doing very good. But by later on, you sort of lose steam and you start getting a bit tired. You're still doing the job, but you start needing people who can like help pick up the slack quite a bit, which isn't a bad thing. Dairon, as you're in the crow's nest, give me 3 perception checks.
Perception checks.
Yes.
2, 3. Ah. Alright,
It's
I'm gonna
fine.
start switching over to
Oh, Chrome. Yeah, no problem. So you got a 21, a 20, and a 19. Yeah, you do brilliantly. You get given a telescope as well to sort of help you, but from what you can tell, you don't really have any problems. Oh.
Alright.
Yep. I almost knocked over a glass.
Yeah,
That's fun.
you don't really have any problems. Let me actually just count something, because I need to actually. I want to just describe the general thing for you, just so you can sort of get an idea of, you know. But ultimately, you don't really see anything out of the ordinary. You do see other ships, but from what you do see from like just checking, you know, like from what you see from like your view, none of them seem to be pirate ships. It just seems to be like other merchant ships and stuff like that.
The fun stuff.
Yeah, just, you know, casual stuff. And yeah, it's a pretty uneventful time. You don't really encounter any problems, which is a good thing, really.
Yeah.
Seamus, as you go
Yep.
down to the kitchen, you find the chef hard at work, the same gentleman from last night. And he says, the captain was telling me I should expect you.
Yep. What do you need?
He reaches into a supply cupboard, he pulls out a mop and a bucket.
Great.
Someone has to clean it. I could be asking you to do the toilets if you want.
Why was the requirement that I know music?
Probably because he couldn't think of any other job. I mean, someone needed to do the cleaning, and, you know, ask him. I don't know. He shrugs. Why, what did you think you were going to do?
I don't know, play a song?
Downstairs? Not on the deck?
I suppose I should have known then.
Well, if you need any help, don't be afraid to ask for any. Don't worry,
I
though.
am afraid to ask for any.
Why?
Because you guys might ask for something in return.
You're literally here to do work. Are you a bit... I don't want to sound offensive. Are you a bit slow in the head?
Yes!
Oh, my apologies. Anyway, I hope you have fun cleaning. Oh, don't. It's not
Fuck
really...
you.
I don't really care. You're here to contribute, whether you are heroes or not.
This is bullshit.
As you do some cleaning, I'm trying to think of what check this would be. Just give me 3 Constitution checks, not saves.
Shit! I was doing so well!
So at first, you actually do really well. You're cleaning very efficiently, but as you come along, you notice that like you sniff up. You know, like you sniff up really hard, and you're like, "Oh, what the fuck is that?" And you see just this. How do I describe it? You smell something come from the latrines, the toilets, and you check, and you almost add to the disgusting mess that's in there.
Great.
You end up having to get help to deal with it, because to be fair, you weren't asked to clean the toilets, but it affects you enough that you don't really end up getting to do much else for the last, like, chunk. But to be fair, you did really well. The amount of cleaning you do, you actually do get some praise from the staff. Felix,
Yes.
you're doing inventory. You go down to the inventories, you get led to where it is, and you see a few different people sort of like doing work, and they basically just ask you to like check their provisions, see what food they have, see what medical equipment they've got to make sure nothing's gone wrong, to make sure no one's stealing from stuff, and just general checking of what they have.
Okay.
You are asked to perform. Let me have a look at your character sheet actually. You are asked to do 3 investigation checks.
Okay. Oh boy.
Oh shit, oh no. That's much better.
Better.
Oh
Not
no.
incredible.
So you're not used to this sort of work. You've never really had to do inventory before. It's a bit hard just checking where things are, especially because like you end up checking things that people have already checked. But to be fair, double checking isn't a bad thing. But once you finally get the hang of it, you do start doing pretty well. But in the end, it's one of them. You sort of just you do some work, but not as good as you feel like you could have. You're not really trained in being investigating and, you know, being that kind of precise.
Yeah.
So it's to be expected. Eventually, what's it called? Because I forgot to mention you would have had breakfast before you were asked to do work. But yeah, eventually lunch comes. You get your break. And yeah, you just sort of you get your own table to yourself. Turum's there again. You notice Turum didn't notice Turum got asked to do any work. Interestingly enough, or at least you didn't see them getting asked. But you also notice Turum's shape has changed. Now they're a lot more thinner and lither. And yeah, again, you know, you see Turum looking away, eating lifting up the mask just enough that they can eat and not exposing their face. And they ask you like, so how was it? How was your work today?
It was alright.
Only alright?
I think I did fairly well, but got a bit tough towards the end there.
Nothing out of the ordinary for me.
What about you, Seamus?
Nothing to report.
And what about you,
Feels like
Felix?
Seamus had a good time.
Could have gone better. It's not the type of thing I'm very good at.
There's nothing wrong with that. I was asked to basically just check some of the magical equipment that they have, which is actually kept separate from the basic inventory. Did you know that they have a folding boat? Oh, you probably wouldn't know. Basically, a folding boat is this like box, and they like gesture to show how big it is. And you can basically use it to unfold a boat, you know, if that wasn't already obvious. It's supposed to be like a life vessel, just in case the ship goes down, but you know, hopefully we don't need to use it. I was commissioned to actually make some for the naval forces to be distributed across the continent. Yeah, apart from mostly just checking magical inventory, I didn't really need to do much. I finished my work pretty quickly. Although it helps when I have unseen servants I can make use of.
That would be helpful, wouldn't it?
I mean, for the most part, I still needed to physically check the stuff, but at least my unseen servants could make notes. As you're sort of sat as well, let me make a roll. I'm going to assign you all a number from 1 to 4. I'm not going to tell you what assigned you are, so... Oh, Felix. You get ascending. This is going to be funny.
Oh boy.
Boy, oh boy. The tension's killing me.
Sorry, did you need me for something? I missed some of that.
No. Felix is just getting ascending.
Okay. I was like, I feel like I missed. I was like, are we
6,
waiting on something
7,
for me?
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That's what you get.
Okay.
Care to share with the class?
It's just Torrent. Saying he can't wait to see us.
I didn't even say who it was from. How did you know?
The speech is quite distinctive. Mysterious
Is it because
voice.
I led with Aya, bruv?
Just a little bit, yeah.
Hi, bruv.
Isn't it? Isn't it great, isn't it?
But yeah, there you go. Yeah. All Torrent did was just send Felix a message asking him how you're all doing. And, you know, can't wait to see you all.
We're in for a fun time, aren't we?
Does that require
We're gonna have a terrible time.
Does that require a response, or can we just leave it, do you think?
Respond. It'll be funnier that way.
Alright.
But yeah. I'm curious to see what Felix is cooking. Hey, yo, what's he cooking?
The music from Hi-Fi Rush is excellent, by the way. I'm like listening to the OST.
I know Alex McCalla put out a tweet recently about it, I believe.
They got 9 Inch Nails on there too.
I
Oh,
know.
damn.
Yeah. There's even a streamer mode from what I know. So you
Yeah,
can
there
actually
is.
play the non-licensed music.
Yeah, it's like totally original music. Everything's the whole game is a rhythm game.
There you go. That's what I sent
It's
back.
like an action rhythm game, which is excellent.
But yeah, you get that, you send that message, but you don't get another message. To be fair, sending doesn't allow back-to-back communication. You'd have to cast it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need a sending stone for back-to-back stuff, don't you?
Yeah, and even then, it only pairs with that sending stone. Cell phones phones aren't on the way to being invented for a long time.
Unfortunate.
Or even
Or
just,
maybe fortunate,
or
depending
even
on who you ask.
or even just pages.
Oof.
You know, none of you are becoming drug dealers yet. You don't get pages. I'd explain to someone that's what pagers are now used for, and the concept of a pager. I've never felt like such a boomer, and I'm 25.
Pagers were ancient when I was in college.
Yeah, I had to explain to someone a thing that was even before my time.
Yeah, pagers were not a thing when I was growing up. We had a landline, and I got
I mean,
the cell phone.
The only people
Well-
who use pagers, who would have used pagers even like when I was born, would have still been doctors and
And they still use pagers.
yeah, and
At
drug
some old-
dealers. And drug
at some of
dealers.
Yeah, at some of the older hospitals, they still use pagers.
But yeah,
Mhm.
anyway. So, you get that thing. You don't get a response though. But yeah, I assume that's what you've told everyone that you were sending. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much what you just don't get a response. You just sort of left to continue your day. Unless any of you want to have anything else to say to each other, your break ends and you're asked to do more work. I'm going to ask you all to make the same rolls you did, but only do 2 of each now. Don't do 3.
Okay.
What you mean, like?
So do the whatever rolls I asked you to do, only do 2 of them.
Yeah, not like Gen did.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I got perception.
No, you didn't
No,
get.
you got con.
Yeah.
Oh.
Bro, scroll
Dang
up.
it. I was trying to avoid it. I knew it was the one, but I didn't want to have to do con again. Cause yeah. I was
So
trying to
no
wriggle
rock.
my way out of it.
So as the night goes dark, as the day gets a bit darker, Dairon, it's a bit hard to see. You're still sort of coming into your use of dark vision. It's not something you're really used to having.
Right.
Even though technically it's now a thing, but I'm gonna say you're special for having it, just because you know.
Yeah, we have to do something about that.
Yeah, you're still getting used to it. You know, having to, the fact you can see in the dark, but the fact you can only really see up to 60 feet. It's not getting dark by the time you finish your shift, but it's still one of them, like, you're still getting used to sort of the lighting difference and how it's actually clearer, but it's still one of them, it's just tricky. You don't do terribly. Again, you don't notice anything wrong. Aldane, it seems that, your food gave you the energy to continue on. And yeah, you do fantastically. It gets to the point where the people are actually doing sea shanties on the boat, and they ask you to join in. You start picking up a couple of ditties.
Those are fun. Sea shanties are a fun time.
Probably the only good thing that I remember.
What shall we do with a drunken
It's the
sailor?
only
What
good
shall we
thing-
do with a
Yeah.
drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor?
I'm not
Early
pleased.
in the morning.
It's
Not
probably
like
the only
enough.
good thing I remember about Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Well, I remember
Uh,
Black Flag being really well regarded, but
It's that was by the point I started getting sick of the games. Felix, as you do your investigation checks, it gets to a point where you start picking up again. Now that you sort of get shown like ways that you can make things easier on yourself and just be generally more efficient, you do really well. But it gets to the point where there's not really much work to do because you've kind of already done it. So you don't really have much to do. It gets to the point where most of the time you're also just spending it chatting with the staff. They're all quite friendly though, to be fair. They're all pretty affable. Seamus, for you, you're having to clean up quite a lot because, it's a busier time of the day for food.
Mm-hmm.
You get tired really quickly. And it gets to the point where eventually the chef is like, just give it me. And sends you off. But eventually, yeah, by that point, you don't have any more work to do. You're actually told you don't need to do a full day. It's literally just to sort of help the staff, like cover breaks and everything.
Yay!
So you do get
Now I
sort
can
of,
practice my music.
I'm gonna say you get the rest of the day to yourself. It's up to you what you want to spend with it, though.
Yeah,
Where
I'll
do you
just
practice
my
your music, Seamus?
In our quarters, probably.
What do you do, Felix?
Go back to relaxing. Felix is really like just wanting to be as chill as possible before getting into what is likely to be a deadly situation.
Dairon, what about you?
Sleeping.
Ah, yes. Looking is a very tiring. I'm joking. But yeah. Yep, fair. What about you, Aldane?
Haldane is also just going to eat something and then lay back and relax. He's had a very physically taxing day.
No problem at all. So, as you sort of rest and relax, you do see Turim actually in the room before you guys. Just sort of reading a book. And they just give you a friendly wave as you walk in. So, how was the rest of your work?
Pleasantly difficult.
What about the rest of you?
Wasn't too bad.
Quite a bit better today.
It's still the same day.
Or for the rest of than earlier, certainly.
Yeah. What about you, Seamus? Any better?
Any better? No.
Fair.
I've
I get
heard
the
that
feeling
the cook.
Seamus did not have a good time today.
I've heard that the cook wants to cut him up and put him in tomorrow's soup.
I would hope
to
that's
eat.
not the case.
There's nothing to eat.
I wouldn't
on
be.
it.
I was gonna say I'd be pretty gamey.
I mean, I've had to eat my interesting share of meat in my time, but you know.
Isn't
Anyway.
gamey like mostly carnivore meat?
I don't know.
Well, gamey means it's tough and chewy.
Hmm. But yeah, Turim just mostly sort of puts the nose in the books, just sort of continuing to read. So, unless you have anything else you want to do, I'm going to say it's the next day.
Yep.
Yep.
So, as you basically are just sort of out at sea, you know, you enjoy your time. I say enjoy. You sort of just sit and rest and relax, you know, preparing yourselves for what's probably going to be a very high octane time. You eventually fall asleep. You all wake up the next day. Well, Felix does first, obviously, because, you know, Trent. Again, 5 in the morning, you hear the ringing of the bell. An hour later, you all hear a knock at the door, asking for your assistance again to work.
Okay.
Do you all...
that?
I assume you all wake up?
Yep.
Yep.
Should be anyway, but...
Yep. Darren's already
Again-
putting on their armor.
Again, second verse, same as the first. Aldane, you know, physical activity. Give me 3 athletics checks. Dairon, Crow's Nest.
There we go. Rough morning.
Oh, nice.
Felix, give me some inventory checks. So, investigation. Oh. Much better. Seamus,
start.
you are asked to do cleaning again.
More Constitution checks.
He's doing his morning constitutional, if you know what I mean.
Oh my.
I got 20, one of them at least.
Oh. Nice.
I see how all of us except Seamus had a rough start to our mornings.
Yeah, Seamus actually did pretty consistently well. Because this is on an average as well. I mostly just like to do it bit by bit because it's funnier, but on an average you do really well. Aldane again, you get roped into some more sea shanties. The people actually start asking you about, yourself to get to know you. They're actually all really friendly. They tell you about
That's
people
nice.
back home. Some people actually tell you they're from Pahola.
Oh, neat.
And yeah. Daron, you actually see in the distance the Blue Sand Resort. And for the briefest moment, you're sure you saw the eye of a certain turtle elemental thing. In like sort of the mountain cliff face. Perhaps he's watching you. But other than that, all safe. Felix, yeah, you take stock really well. The staff actually really complimentary of your work ethic. Seamus, you do really well, actually. You clean up so well, the chef actually says he'll give you some extra food. As thanks.
Or
And yeah, you have your lunch. You enjoy your meal. Just like the chef said, Seamus, you do get a little bit extra in your food.
Yay!
And yeah, by the time you see Turim for lunch, you actually notice Turim has again changed shape. This time they're a lot shorter, about probably like 5'3". And they're also a bit stocky, I guess. And again,
they're a person of many shapes and faces.
yeah. Again, they turn away so you can't see anything of them to sort of show what's under everything. And yeah, you enjoy your lunch. This time, I'm going to make another roll. This time, Felix isn't counted. Dairon, you get a sending.
Hello.
Everyone's real quiet right now.
Darren's using all of the
sleeping.
processing power.
I don't tell the party what was said to me.
Okay.
You do actually get a response.
And what is my response?
One,
Oh
two,
boy, oh boy.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18. There you go. I will say, just as a reminder with Torrent, none of you are from Pahola, but the few Paholans you've spoken to, especially you, Aldane, for some of the deck, like the people on the deck, some of them have an accent somewhat similar to Torrent.
Oh boy.
A lot of them are the people who are the most working class, though, I will say. Torrent's sounds especially put on.
Oh wow. Torrent
Almost
put
like
on, that's...
Almost like he's trying to talk like he does. Yes, Torum is currently in Dairon's DMs. I feel like in a more modern campaign, with just modern but 5th edition, like sending would be... I'd say sending would still be useful, but a text would be so much more powerful. Like, sending is when you run out of signal, I'd say.
Yeah.
But I'd also say in a modern setting, like, there wouldn't really be as much reason to get as strong as you would to be able to cast sending. I don't know. Like, I'd argue for this setting especially, by the time it would reach modern era, people like you guys would kind of be a dying breed in terms of just, you know, adventurers and getting strong, you know. But I'd say even people of your power level would be extremely rare. You don't get a response after that, though, Dairon. But yeah. Do you not share with the class?
Nope.
Wow.
Funny. But yeah, I'm gonna say though, after you end up finishing your food break, give me 2 more of those checks again for the rest of your shift.
2 more?
Yeah, 2 more. So for you, Felix, you're mostly just double checking what you've already...
Duality of man there, honestly.
Yeah, for you, Felix, you're mostly just double checking what you've already looked at, just to absolutely make certain, you know.
Yeah.
Also, Dylan, time for you to roll as well.
Don't make me
Dairon,
do this again!
Do it, I'll roll for you. See? Don't make me do this again, he says as he gets a nat 20.
Then he gets an 8 right after that.
Honestly, Felix, most of this is just spent you chatting and like them talking to you.
Yeah.
You know, asking what Tenoyama's like. You know, just getting to know you really. For you, Dairon, you're mostly just again, you know, you begin to see more of the Blue Sands Resort as you're sort of approaching, you know, on your way to Pahola proper. In the distance, though, you see to like the south, you do see a strikingly blue thunderclap, like a bolt of lightning in the far distance. Almost as if your back is proverbially being watched. Which, you know, as Aldane, you are on the deck, probably singing more sea shanties with the crew. Yeah, it's just a pretty chill time. This leg of the journey seems to be like, most of the stuff that's already been done has been done. It's mostly just keeping up what they're already working on. For you, Seamus, you do pretty well. You help. There's a few people that need to clean up with you, but I mean, that's the point anyway. They're not expecting you to do all of the work on your own. You know, like, even for you, Dairon, you get, like, brief breaks, like, a few, like, 10 minutes every, like, in, like, you know, in parts. You know, a 10-minute break. You know, like, for you, Aldane, you get, like, a quick drink of water. You know, you get to sit down. For you, Seamus, you actually get to sit down as well, and, you know, like, other people are cleaning. And it's the same for you, Felix. Like, they're all treating you properly. And yeah, you know, eventually, it comes the evening, and yeah, you're all just, like, I assume probably just again chilling in your rooms.
Yep.
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 And so, as we approach what is going to be the last day, as you will actually wake up in Pahola, gents, friends, you all hear the bell ringing for 5 a.m. You all hear the knock on the door. It's the same guy every time, by the way, who comes to check in on you all. And yeah, you get ready. You get sent out to do your jobs. Aldane, give me 3 athletics checks.
What a boy. Oh, wow. That's a
Darren,
drop off towards the
Darren, give me 3 perception checks. Seamus, give me 3 constitution checks.
I knew that was coming.
Felix, give me 3 investigation checks. Oh, okay. So, Aldane, you're so ingrained into the work, you're almost like getting into the motions just pretty easily. The point where a lot of staff are actually like suggesting if you ever wanted to live, be a naval man, instead of just being a landlubber, they'd be willing to take you on board. If the sea ever calls to you, it's there. Daron, as you're sort of looking around, you do see, you're very sure what looks like might be land in the distance, your destination. All of you have periodically started feeling again, you're still so far away from Santusk, but the feeling, the sensation from your Dracolich piece resonating with the Unclaimed One is growing more and more. It's not overwhelming, at least at this point, but it's almost there as if to remind you what you're there for. For you, Seamus, you do notice the boat, especially because you're like under, the boat feels like it's swaying a bit more than it should be. Or at least, it feels that way, because you're struggling a bit with the cleaning. Like, you're having to sort of, like, come up with ways to not have the bucket sort of, slightly...
Sloshing everywhere.
Yeah. And for you, Felix, yeah, you do really well with your inventory check. Everything that should be getting taken is getting taken in the right amounts possible. Any excess is actually being cleared with you guys, though, ahead of time. So, nothing's out of the ordinary. Nothing's being taken, like, if there's any spies, they're at least not fucking with the inventory, And yeah, eventually you all come together. You do not get a torrent sending, however, this day. Regretfully. But yeah, you get your food. It just loops round. You actually get told to not do any more work for the rest of the day. You're just basically given the rest of the day for free reign. If you want to do anything now, talk to each other about your game plan when you set foot down. You can, or just, I don't know, chat shit. It's up to you.
So, do we know how long it's going to take us to get from Torrent to Santusk?
Good question, Felix, Turimat says. Let me have a look as he checks the map. He also being me, because I'm the GM and I'm the one checking for you guys. So it'll take about 40 miles to get to Torrent. Because the dock isn't actually in the city.
Yeah.
That's something to keep in mind. 40 miles. So it's going to take you about a day and 5 hours to get to Torrent proper.
Right.
From there, you then have to cross over, and this is basically going the most direct route, you know, without any deviations.
Yeah.
It's about 253 miles, which is 10 days and 4 hours
Oh wow.
to get to Santusk alone. And then you don't exactly know where the Dracolich piece is, so it'll probably take you another few more days. So you're going to be in Pahola for like basically 2 weeks.
Is that traveling via foot or via cart?
You'll be given transportation. You have been told that.
Yeah.
Whether that transportation gets attacked and killed, you don't know. That will change things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because with it being sandy as well, your walking speed would actually be slowed. So if you were to go a slow pace, just from Torrent, it would actually take you pretty much 2 weeks to get to Santusk. That's how much your travelling speed would be impeded by. But at a normal pace, it should be fine. But yeah, that's basically what Turim tells you anyway. Is there anything else you want to know? I've been in Pahola before actually as well, so I can help you with stuff.
So we're gonna get clothes to help us deal with the heat a bit more. Is there anything else we should do to prepare?
Good question. I mean, ultimately, I'd just say to, you know, just sort of not overexert yourselves if possible. I mean, we're not going to be able to pick and choose our fights, probably. But, I don't know. Just, yeah, don't really mess... We're not really here to mess around anyway, but, you know. Turim just shrugs. Unfortunately, there's not really much else we can do. From what I've heard, Torrent is actually going to be supplying us with some stuff anyway to help.
I mean, I've got an umbrella. It was meant for rain, but I could probably do
Yeah,
a
I mean,
decent job of...
keeping yourself out of the shade will be very helpful. Anything you can do to sort of not deal with the bare sun on your body is helpful. Thankfully, my cloak is actually outfitted with temperature installation, so I'm actually pretty cool under here right now. Honestly, the cost of this cloak alone probably could have bought you your house. I'd love to show you the sights though, but I mean we can do that after we deal with the, you know, the evil dragon thing.
We can sightsee on our way back from Santusk.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Won't this be the second to last? I mean, this will be the 5th piece you're dealing with as well, won't it?
Yeah, there'll be 2 left. Well, 1 unclaimed, 1 remaining.
What are you going to do next? Are you going to go to Siltanok, or are you just going to deal with Black Crane sooner?
Well, we should go to Silternok.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I won't be journeying with you for that, regardless. I'll probably be too busy working on stuff anyway. With what you've described with it being a Bahia, it's not really my expertise. I'm not really educated on dragons more than anyone else, really. I know things they can do, but at that point you might as well just hire a dragon killer, or I don't know, a actual warrior. Like Kurogane might be better, or someone like that. I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm only out here because the enemy you're dealing with is a magic user, so
Well,
yeah,
we appreciate it.
it's no problem. I mean, I live in this world as well. I'm not gonna have my life be inconvenienced by some prick. I mean, I'm mostly interested as well because from what I've heard, this pharaoh might actually have some keys to help me with some insights on time magic. I've actually been learning a new trick that can technically allow you to travel through time.
Oh, that'd be fun.
It's not true time travel, but it's one way where you can basically access the past through memories of beings that you are connected to in some capacity. Such as, say, I don't know, Felix could basically see into the past of his father. Or maybe Aldane could see what his dad was like.
Interesting.
Or maybe you, Dairon, could maybe find out, I don't know, your family. From what I've been learning, though, you need to have some tangible concept of the person you're imagining. So if you don't know them at all, you can't picture them to do something. So if you never knew a person, you can't connect with them in that capacity, if you know what I mean. So, I don't know, say you don't know your parents, but you knew your grandparent, you could access the memory, you could see into the past through your grandparent. Does that make sense?
So do you need to have actually met the person, or...
You need to have had some connection with them, whether that be, I don't know. Pause for a moment. I mean, if you met them, that helps. The greater the connection, the easier it is to basically let you go into them. Because otherwise, I've been learning, there's been a problem with actually blending the memories, where, especially if they're a very strong person of personality, or if you are affected by the emotions that person feels too much, you could potentially start taking on parts of them by accident. From what I've been testing and learning, say, I don't know, Aldane, for example, I can't help but bring you up because, you know, your father being who he is.
Hmm.
Say if
Yes.
Aldane was so horrified by something his father did, it might start affecting him personally. The best way you can handle things is to try and be as detached as possible, but with you already needing some form of connection with the person, it's pretty impossible to do so.
Yeah.
This is all mostly conceptual stuff, but it's something I want to work on anyway. It will basically change and, you know, it'll effectively change our fundamental knowledge of the past as we know it. You know, I could potentially access stuff from my family. Any of you could access stuff from your past if you wanted to.
Hmm.
It's not my goal, though, to do this. My goal, ideally, is to completely, like, learn the entire, like, just everything I can about time magic. I don't intend to change the past, by any means. But I still want to at least know stuff about the past to prevent what can be done in the present, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ideally, I'd love to be able to say we could stop wars by sort of figuring out the root cause of them. You know, actually seeing the nuances of stuff play out would be incredibly helpful.
That would.
As it stands, I don't have the resources or skill, I guess you could say, to do it. The closest I've been able to do is see brief snippets into my dad's past. But it's not been for very long. It's been only like a couple of minutes. And I can't pick specific moments like I want to. They shrug. The fact that I'm able to even get pieces of the past is already a big help. I wish I didn't have to see my own conception, though. That was something I didn't like. In fact, I only found out my Mac that I can see into the past for a couple of minutes. I'm not talking about it anymore.
Sometimes a couple minutes is all it takes.
They just pull out a book and start reading again. They have a mask on, but you're almost sure their face is probably red. Yeah. As you all probably wind down, unless you want to talk amongst each other, we can cut to the next day.
Yeah.
So, as you finish everything up, you're all basically, like, ready to sleep. You've been on this boat for basically 3 days now. By the time you wake up, you hear the bell ring. You hear that knock on the door once again. And on the other side you hear, hello, we've reached our destination. We've now arrived in the Pahola port. Please make sure you don't leave anything inside. And you hear footsteps, actually, as they're walking away. Like, they don't wait for you to come out. Yeah, you're in Pahola, fellas.
Excellent. Is a good endpoint, or do you want us to keep
I
going?
was going to say, as you get ready to leave the boat, I'm going to say this is the session.
Okay. I think that's a good point to stop.
Yeah.
I wanted a slow session to build up just because it's going to be a lot more quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you will actually be dealing with probably semi-regular attacks on the road.
Right.
Fun times.
Like, actually having good watches, like, planning them out and making good rolls will actually count. Because you might end up dealing with surprise rounds.
Great.
Yeah, it happens, but yeah, it's one of them though. Yeah, it'll be a thing for next week.
Yep.
Yeah, you're in another country, fellas.
Actually, next week I may not be able to do a session.
Oh, it's alright if you can't.
Yeah, it's like next couple Sundays I think I'll be busy. Because next weekend's my girlfriend's last weekend in town before she moves. And then the weekend after is Super Bowl Sunday, so I'll probably have stuff going on. I actually, maybe not in the morning, but for most of the day I should have stuff going on.
Well, we'll talk about that later as we get that sorted out.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, well, that is the end of the session, so thank you everybody for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed. In terms of future stuff, Tuesday and Thursday will be gaming stuff as usual. We'll see who's available and therefore what we do. One of them will probably be Dragon Age, honestly. One of them may or may not be this this game that Gen has been talking about, Hi-Fi Rush. Well,
Yes.
I'll give it a look and see if I enjoy it, and if I do, I might play it on stream. Saturday is the Paradox Hour with the Roast of Naruto. That's going to be a good one. And next Sunday,
Believe it.
Next Sunday, as you've just heard, no D&D, so we'll figure something else out to do. But otherwise, again, thank you everybody for watching. Please do give us a follow here on Twitch and on Twitter at Storytime_net. And otherwise, we hope to see you on Tuesday for more gaming. Good night.
Good night.
Later.